Good evening and a lovely welcome to Crown TV Grand News. In case you've just tuned in, you are watching us live on our Top Star channel 89, on DSTV channel 277, GOTV channel 23. We're also live on StarTimes applications, Facebook, as well as YouTube as CrownTVZambia. Please remember to subscribe and indicate to us as to where you are watching us from. For now, let's take a look at the top stories in our news tonight. Hunger striking NAKACINDA backs MUNDUBILE from behind bar. Chief MPEZENI remains returned home. President HH signs into law 5 bills. And coming up in sports news, referees key in upholding football ethics, fast boss. With the news in detail, I'm Esther Abrahams Daka. Incarcerated politician Raphael NAKACINDA has told the High Court that he has been on hunger strike for the past 16 days, alleging that he has been denied access to his lawyers and communication with family members while in custody. Mr. NAKACINDA informed the court that the restrictions have adversely affected his ability to attend to family responsibilities, including sending financial support and paying school fees for his children. Let's get more details in this report.
Incarcerated politician Raphael NAKACINDA has complained before the High Court that he has been on a hunger strike for several days, with Thursday marking the 16th day. In an exclusive interview with Crown TV, Mr. NAKACINDA says he will continue fighting for his rights until they are respected. He adds that all he can say is that light should shine in darkness, seemingly an endorsement for Brian Mundubile and McCabe Zulu.
Yes. The hunger strike continues until my rights are respected. 16th day. Well, the only thing I can say is that let the light shine in darkness so that we can be redeemed.
During court proceedings, Mr. NAKACINDA told the court that he is going through a strange experience at the correctional facility. He says he has not been allowed to communicate with his lawyers despite making applications seeking access to his phones. According to him, the situation has deeply affected both him and his family, as he has been unable to make calls to send money and pay school fees for his children. Upon hearing the complaint, the court asked one of the police officers who were present in court whether he could explain the situation. However, the officer stated that he was unable to provide any explanation. The court then ordered Lusaka Central Deputy Officer to appear before court on Thursday, 5th June, to provide an explanation regarding the matter. Now, as the case was about to commence, none of the defense lawyers were present, prompting the court to adjourn the matter to Friday, June the 5th. Only 2 witnesses were present in court, and they have also been directed to attend the proceedings on the adjourned date. Kundej Sachingalesu Ngandu, reporting for Crown TV News in Lusaka.
The body of Paramount Chief MPEZENI has arrived in Chipata of Eastern Province. The Zambia Air Force plane carrying the body touched down at exactly 12:10 hours at Chipata Airport, and government handed over the body to the Ngoni Royal Establishment. Upon arrival in Chipata, the body was transported by road from Chipata Airport to Ifandukeni Palace at 13:30, where it will lie in state until the day of burial. And in honor of the late traditional leader, President Hakainde Hichilema has declared Tuesday as a day of national mourning.
The body of Paramount Chief MPEZENI has arrived in Chipata, district of Eastern Province. The Zambia Air Force plane carrying the body touched down at exactly 12:10 hours at Chipata Airport. Government officials formally handed over the body to the Ngoni Royal Establishment. Upon arrival in Chipata, the body was transported by road from Chipata Airport to Ipenduken Palace at 13:30 hours, where it will lie instead until the day of burial. Business in the Central Business District came to a standstill as hundreds of Chipata residents and people from all walks of life lined the street to pay their last respect to a paramount who entertained and united them not only during the oral traditional ceremony but also at various other occasions.
All we are trying to do now is to preserve the peace that the country requires.
Government says it is pleased with the unity and oneness demonstrated by Ngoni chiefs during this period of mourning.
It's the leadership that you have shown when other people wanted to make nothing out of a sad development. We are so grateful for your decisive leadership. And I hope that we are learning that there is time for everything. There is time to mourn, there is time to rejoice, there is time to do politics. But when we have a bereavement like this one, it is time for us to unite together in unity and move as one family. So we are so grateful on behalf of government, Royal Highnesses, for the leadership that you have shown. And this is what is deserving for the chief that we are escorting.
Meanwhile, Chief Mazimawe has urged those participating in traditional cousinship, commonly known as Chimbuya, activities to conduct themselves respectively, saying the traditional mourning
Size yao nimenekazi wawe mbashitiмкulu ndiye level senior chief nkula wele antile pauda kapena osati pauda ndile unganeko osati mwana mtonto azatile neo unga vili malevo uyu wamwalira ni mbuya wake wachitimkulu ndiye zigao.
The Catholic Church also conducted a Thanksgiving Mass at Ipenduken Palace in remembrance of Paramount Chief MPEZENI. The Paramount Chief MPEZENI died on 30th May 2026 at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka. The burial of Paramount Chief MPEZENI is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, 9th June 2026 at the Royal Resting Grounds in Feni Village of Chipata. Born David Jere, he was installed as Paramount Chief MPEZENI in 1982 and served the people for more than 4 decades. For Crown TV News, Sambo David, Chipata, Eastern Province.
Meanwhile, Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Mwemba has warned individuals against causing any form of confusion during the period of mourning of the late Chief MPEZENI. Mr. Mwemba says police are on high alert as people from Zambia and outside gather to mourn the late traditional leader.
We are saddened, as I've stated, from some named groupings who want to bring confusion, especially this time around when we are mourning Ngwenyama, Kosiyama Nkosi. There are people who are planning tomorrow, Friday, as they arrive at our airport, Chipata, they have mobilized motorbike riders for them to gain mileage from the airport probably up to Ipenduke, which is an head-off. If those plans are there, can they stop? Because now they are going to see the other side of the police. You cannot gain mileage out of lawlessness. My officers and I were not sleeping. And this information is credible, is valid, authentic. Because we are working with our dear people, the community. We are not going to tolerate that.
In other news, former Minister Chishimba KAMBWILI has been fined 25,000 kwacha after being convicted of leaving Zambia without presenting himself to an immigration officer at a designated port of entry. Delivering judgment, the court considered KAMBWILI's status as a first-time offender and opted to impose a fine instead of an immediate custodial sentence. The court, however, ruled that failure to pay the 25,000 kwacha fine will result in a 7-month prison sentence. The details.
Former Minister Chishimba KAMBWILI has been ordered to pay 25,000 kwacha after being convicted of leaving Zambia without presenting himself to an immigration officer at a designated port of entry. This followed a plea by his lawyer, who asked the court to exercise maximum lenience, arguing that KAMBWILI is a first-time offender and did not waste the court's time. After the facts of the case were read to him, KAMBWILI confirmed that he understood them and stated that he did not wish to add or dispute any of the facts presented. In mitigation, his lawyer further submitted that the convicted former minister is not only a first offender but also a politician who has served the country in various capacities. Counsel also noted that in the event KAMBWILI failed to pay a fine, the court had the option of ordering the forfeiture of his property. However, Magistrate George Njovu considered the mitigation and ruled that KAMBWILI should pay a fine of 25,000 kwacha or in default serve 7 months imprisonment. The offence is contrary to Section 16(1), read together with Section 56(1) of the Immigration and Deportation Act No. 18 of 2010. Kundej Sachingalesu Nandu, reporter for CrownTVZambia in Lusaka.
In other news, the government has dismissed claims by some political parties that their campaign materials have been impounded by the Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, describing the allegations as false and misleading. Addressing the media, Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Tabo Kawana says there is currently no political party whose campaign materials are being held impounded or delayed by ZRA at any border entry point in the country. Mr. Kawana has challenged any political party making such claims to provide evidence, including the specific border post and relevant documentation, as that the matter can be verified and addressed. He has further urged political parties to be truthful with their supporters and reminded all political players that they are free to import campaign materials provided they comply with the customs procedures and pay the required taxes.
Let it be made very clear that ZRA is not holding on to any material or container containing any material for any political party throughout all the borders in this country. If there is such a political party that is purporting that ZRA is holding their material, let them alert us, show us which border and the documentation, and government will assist in ensuring that ZRA expedites. But we are very certain, and ZRA has made it very clear to us as well, that there is no material being held or impounded or held onto. Now, it is very important for political players that in this season of elections, just be truthful and frank with your supporters. If you have got no material to give them, tell them, Vane, there is no material to give you in these elections. Don't lie to your supporters by cheating that material is there but it has been impounded by ZRA. There is no such thing as material being impounded. So there is no political party which has its material impounded by ZRA. However, let me re-emphasize that all political players who intend to bring in materials from outside are free to do so, and they can bring in their containers, pay the required taxes, and if they need the help in terms of expediting, although that may not be necessary because ZRA works expeditiously, but in the event that they need government to assist in expediting the process, government is open to do so for them. But let them just pay their due taxes and the material will be in their hands and given to their people. But let me repeat that there is no political party whose material has been impounded or been held on to by ZRA at the borders. So
we now come to the segment we call Letter to the President, an opportunity that Crown Television gives you to write your views to the head of state. You can SMS or WhatsApp your letter to 0974-314807. Please, as you write, avoid vulgar language. Tonight's Letter to the President reads:
Dear Mr. President, I write to you as a concerned citizen who is deeply committed to the progress and prosperity of our nation. As President, you carry the immense responsibility of leading Zambia through both opportunities and challenges, and it is in that spirit that I respectfully share my thoughts. While your administration has made notable efforts in advancing national development, many citizens continue to face significant economic and social hardships. There is a growing perception among some members of the public that their realities experienced by ordinary Zambians may not always be fully reflected in the information reaching your office. Strong leadership is strengthened by honest counsel. It is important, Mr. President, that those entrusted with advising you present an accurate picture of the challenges facing citizens, including concerns that may be uncomfortable but necessary to address. Open and truthful communication between leaders and the people is essential for effective governance. Your Excellency, sir, I humbly encourage you to continue engaging directly with communities across the country, listening to diverse perspectives and ensuring that the voices of ordinary citizens are heard at the highest level of decision-making. Such engagements, Mr. President, can help build trust, strengthen public confidence, and guide policies that respond to the genuine needs of our people. Zambians desire leadership that remains connected to their daily struggles, listens attentively to their concerns, and acts decisively to improve their lives. Addressing these concerns will not only strengthen national unity, Mr. President, but also reinforce the bond between the government and the people it serves. My sincere hope is that these observations will be received in the constructive spirit in which they are offered for the benefit of our nation and future generations. May God grant you wisdom, strength, and guidance as we continue to serve the people of Zambia. This letter is coming from a concerned Zambian citizen.
Let's now take a look at our weather for tonight, the 4th of June 2026. Starting from Luapula, northern Muchinga, eastern, central Lusaka, southern, and the Copperbelt provinces. The afternoon weather was partly cloudy, slightly windy, and warm to hot. Maximum temperature will range between 25 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. Evening, the weather is expected to be mainly clear, slightly windy, and mild. This is produced by the Zambia Meteorological Department under the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. We take our first break on Crown TV Grand News. We'll be right back.
On a busy day in Lusaka, right in the middle of a vlogging, Mr. Simon Mwelo's phone battery died. Well, he knew what to do next. He called Zambia's top cell phone and accessories dealer. In a flash, problem solved. Across town, Dr. Sia Twambo was getting ready for a presentation when he realized that his PA forgot something. A quick call to Mobile City and his projector screen was delivered in no time. Meanwhile, Vana Fiasasa was about to leave for the village when she remembered she needed a phone upgrade. One call to Mobile City and a new phone arrived just in time. Banafia sasa, snapping a selfie before hitting the road? But wait, I thought the other guys were in a hurry. For free, fast and reliable delivery, trust Mobile City. Beware of scammers. Mobile City Delivery. You order, we deliver.
We continue with the news. The Northern Western Chamber of Commerce and Industry has warned that the statutory instrument number 68 of 2025 local content policy framework risks becoming another policy that looks good on paper but delivers little in practice if consultation is overlooked. Speaking at a media briefing in Solwezi District, Chamber President Amos Kapi says there is abuse of local content policy framework beneficial ownership provisions. Mr. Kapi explains that the Chamber remains committed to constructive engagements and peaceful solutions, saying the growing frustrations within host communities should not be ignored. He says the Chamber continues to receive reports of some foreign companies who are merely attaching Zambian names to company registration documents in order to qualify as local suppliers, where ownership exists only on paper, while capital management, decisions, control and profits remain elsewhere. Patrick Mackay reports.
6 months after Zambia introduced the local content policy framework under statutory instrument number 68 of 2025, the Northwestern Chamber of Commerce and Industry says little has changed on the ground. The Chamber warns that SI 68 risks becoming another policy that looks good on paper but delivers little in practice.
To date, the Chamber has not received any formal engagement from mining companies regarding the implementation progress. No mine has convened a meaningful engagement with the Northwestern Chamber of Commerce and Industry regarding supply development plans. Frustration within the communities should not be ignored. People want to see tangible benefits, people want to see opportunities, people want to see evidence that local content is working. Ladies and gentlemen,
according to the Chamber, no mining firm in the province has convened a meaningful engagement with local businesses since the policy took effect 6 months ago.
The Chamber is increasingly concerned by reports suggesting that some foreign companies are merely attaching Zambian names to company registration documents in order to qualify as local suppliers. The Chamber is also calling for every mining companies operating in Zambia to appoint a dedicated Zambian local content commercial manager. Not a symbolic opposition, not a public relations law.
The Chamber says Zambia's mineral wealth should create real opportunities for host community businesses.
Chamber is not anti-investment. We value investment. We appreciate the contribution mining companies make to the economy. We want investors to succeed. But sustainable investment requires social legitimacy.
Businesses are now asking one simple question: what has changed?
The business community would like to see government demonstrate the same commitment to implementation that it demonstrated in developing and launching the policy. It was never intended to allow the manipulation of the system through arrangements that satisfy technical requirements while defeating the purpose of the policy.
SI 68 requires all mining firms operating in Zambia to source goods and services from local suppliers, employ Zambian citizens, and invest in capacity building.
The government has demonstrated its commitment by putting in place the necessary policy framework. It is evident that the full objective of local content have not yet been realized. Many local businesses continue to struggle to access opportunities, and many communities have yet to experience the full benefits that the policy was intended to deliver. The Chamber's concern should be viewed not as opposition, but as a genuine effort to strengthen the implementation of a policy that government has already established.
6 months in, the Chamber says it's time to move from policy to practice. Patrick Mackay, Crown TV News, Solwezi.
The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development says utilization of the Constituency Development Fund CDF reached 88% in the first quarter of 2026, with local authorities spending more than 573.7 million kwacha out of the 651.9 million kwacha disbursed by government. Speaking at a media briefing, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary in charge of administration, Dr. Gabriel Pollen, says the strong utilization rate demonstrates a government's commitment to delivering developmental projects and services to communities across the country. Dr. Pollen says a total of 2,293 community projects valued at about 2.79 billion kwacha were approved countrywide, while over 82,000 beneficiaries were approved under the secondary school and skills development bursaries. He adds that the government has also supported more than 12,000 beneficiaries through empowerment grants and worked on over 567 kilometers of roads under the CDF program aimed at improving livelihoods and boosting local development.
The ministry received 500 million kwacha this week from the Ministry of Finance for CDF, particularly just for CDF. And as per ministry obligation to ensure there's efficient utilization and timely disbursement of funds, within 24 hours, those funds were processed and sent to the local authorities. So as we speak, the local authorities, all 116 local authorities, all 156 constituencies across the country currently have received the CDF allocations based on the latest disbursement that's been released by the Ministry of Finance. So this is really critical for us because the public is encouraged to trail and hold government to account for the funds that we receive. And that's why this briefing is important in general for us. So what that means with the latest disbursement of 500 million kwacha across all the 116 local authorities is that we have received total CDF allocation rather for 2026 is just over 6.2 billion kwacha. The government has released about 2.2 billion kwacha so far, which represents 35% of the annual budget. Of the released funds, 98% has been dispersed across all the local authorities. And why it's not 100% is because some of the activities for local authorities are being centrally procured. So not all the money goes to local authorities. Some of it gets spent by the ministry on behalf of local authorities. So I think loosely speaking, we could say that 100% of the received funds have been spent on CDF. So just to clarify, 6.2 billion is the annual allocation. 2.2 billion, which is 35% of the annual allocation, has been received and dispersed to all the local authorities. So this
Now in health news, the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, ZAMSA, has received a consignment of essential medicines from the Arab Republic of Egypt in a move aimed at strengthening the country's healthcare system and improving the availability of drugs in health institutions. Speaking during the receipt of the shipment, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Kenneth Lishimpi urged ZAMSA to ensure the medicines are distributed efficiently and reach the intended beneficiaries without fail.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring that essential medicines reach every health facility and ultimately every patient who needs them. Speaking during the receipt of a consignment of medicines from Egypt, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Kenneth Lishimpi has stressed the importance of timely distribution and prudent management of the commodities. Dr. Lishimpi says government expects the medicines to reach the intended beneficiaries, including patients in the most remote parts of the country, through an efficient and accountable distribution system.
We have our own trucks that we use to transport medicine across the country. So they have some minor problems here and there, but today we are of the resolve that we must repair them. And this is our directive to the DG. Have those trucks repaired so that this medicine that has come here can be effectively distributed. How wonderful will it be that it is us ourselves as ZAMSA distributing and not hiring other people's trucks. So all of us as managers responsible in those areas, we need to pull towards this one vision that we need to ensure that first of all, it is our own trucks that are on the move. And we need to ensure that we are tracking them. Like Professor Chilengi has said, we are going to have to enable the trackers on those trucks so that we can see where it is and we'll be able to question the drivers. And to the drivers, DG, this is not for play. We would like the drivers to be very honest and look after these trucks properly. And to all the mechanics that we have employed here at ZAMSA, that is their job, to make sure that these vehicles are in good working condition.
Meanwhile, Egypt's ambassador to Zambia says the collaboration between the two countries goes beyond the supply of drugs and lays the foundation of long-term technical cooperation in the pharmaceutical sector.
Second, a bridge of pharmaceutical excellence. Egypt is today a regional hub for pharmaceutical manufacturing, with facilities meeting the international standards, including the WHO GMP certification. Through this partnership with ZAMSA, we are not just suppliers, we are partners. We envision this as a foundation for deeper technical cooperation, including the transfer of knowledge, joint training for Zambian pharmacists and supply chain managers, and eventual co-production of...
Further, ZAMSA Acting Director General Yoka Luyoka has assured that the agency will not relent in upholding transparency in the distribution of medicines and medical supplies in all parts of the country. And Presidential Advisor on Health, Roma Chilengi, has noted that the President is deliberate about ensuring that all health facilities across the country are well equipped with all essential drugs.
What was clear from the outset was that the directive we had was from our presidents, both in Egypt and in Zambia, that we have to strike a government-to-government arrangement. And in that arrangement was a lot of considerations that speak to the brotherliness, or if you like, the sisterliness between Egypt and Zambia. So today we are very happy to be here and to borrow from the ambassador's remarks, speaking about the relationship between the Nile and the Zambezi River.
For Crown TV News, Tawanda Munyuki.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has signed into law 5 bills aimed at strengthening the education sector and improving pension benefits for workers and retirees across the country. The 5 laws include the Education Amendment Act 2026, the National Pension Scheme Act 2026, the Public Service Pensions Act 2026, the Pension Scheme Regulation Amendment Act 2026 and the Local Authorities Superannuation Act 2026. The signing of the Education Amendment Act entrenches the government's free education policy, which has seen about 2.6 million children return to school since its introduction in January 2022. In other news,
shortly after forming government in 2021, the United Party for National Development UPND administration introduced a free education policy in an effort to remove financial barriers that prevented many children from accessing education. Since its introduction in January 2022, the policy has seen more than 2.6 million learners return to school, with classrooms across the country recording increased enrollment as thousands of children were given a second chance to learn. To safeguard this achievement, President Hakainde Hichilema has signed into law the Education Amendment Bill of 2026, making free education a legal right and ensuring that future generations continue to benefit from the program. The President signed the bill alongside 4 pension reform laws during a ceremony held at State House in Osaka on Thursday afternoon. Speaking during the signing ceremony, President Hichilema warned that no future government should be allowed to reverse the gains made under the free education policy, describing education as the country's most important investment.
So free education was a policy of this party from opposition for 23 years, consistently. And when we had the opportunity to occupy public office, we said, this is it. Once we introduced it, we realized that someone may come after us and see things differently. So we said, let's embed it in the law so that every child of Zambia can have the opportunity we had, I had, she had, to go to school. That's the motivation. We build skills for the nation.
The President also revealed that government is working to expand access to higher education through the construction of public universities in Southern, Eastern, Western, Northwestern, Luapula and Mchinga provinces.
6 provinces of Zambia have no public universities. Northern, Luapula, Northwestern, Western, Eastern, Southern province. I have a message. Each of these provinces will have a public university.
This development has since been held by stakeholders in the education and labor sectors.
Today, Your Excellency marks a historical milestone in the development of this nation through your assent to the following bills: the Education Amendment Bill 2026, the Public Service Pensions Bill 2026, the Local Authorities Superannuation Fund Bill 2026, the Pension Scheme Regulation Amendment Bill 2026, and the National Pension Scheme Bill 2026.
Minimum pension will rise from 1,861 to 2,327. What a game changer. What a game changer.
Reporting for Crown TV News in Osaka, Chanda Mwango.
In other news, President Hakainde Hichilema has questioned what opposition leaders seeking public office ahead of this year's general elections will do if elected into office. President Hichilema says his government has worked hard to implement several reforms to revive the country's economy, which he says was collapsing before his administration assumed office. He says reforms such as debt restructuring have seen the country's debt obligation reduce to $900 million per year from $1.4 billion per year.
When people say no, they are coming back, I say, to do what? To occasion more damage, so we can spend 3 years working on the debt restructuring again? The little things we've done in these 4 years and 9 months, we spent 3 years on debt restructuring. Imagine if we came in after the balance sheet was cleaned up in 2011. Today, this country would have been a totally different place. We lost 10 years after 2011. Totally lost it. And now the colleagues want to come back. To do what? You can change the nameplate that you are now a different creature. You are the same. You can change the name. You can change the t-shirt color. You are the same. This is not a joke. I'm serious. My heart bleeds. I hope your heart bleeds. It's scary.
Kasama district has received a major boost to its health workforce with the deployment of 35 newly recruited health professionals. The new staff from part of the 3,205 health workers hired countrywide by government in April 2026 and were officially oriented this week ahead of their placement in facilities across the district. District officials say the addition comes at a critical time as local clinics and hospitals continue to face staffing pressures. The recruits drawn from nursing, clinical and support cadres are expected to improve service delivery and reduce waiting times of patients in Kasama.
There is good news for healthcare in Kasama. The district has welcomed 35 newly recruited health workers as part of the nationwide intake of 3,205 health professionals held by government in April 2026. The new staff were officially oriented this week as they prepare to begin serving communities across the district. During the orientation meeting, Kasama Town Clerk Innocent Mutambo congratulated the recruits on securing their appointments, noting the critical role they will play in strengthening healthcare delivery in the district.
I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your successful appointment in the 2025 recruitment exercise for health workers. As we welcome you to afford, we also challenge you to grow. To be found here is a very big privilege. And I can't say that what we have here, that we are the best people of those that apply. I don't think so. So if you are a Christian, this is an opportunity that God has given you.
The Minister of Health in Kasama has urged the new workers to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, integrity and excellence as they begin their service in the health sector.
We want serious commitment from you colleagues. I think the government has invested so much in employing all of you. As you may be aware, as a health profession, we've got integrity to preserve. Everybody outside there is looking up to us. How do we carry ourselves? At work, how is our conduct? We don't want you to adopt bad habits. Okay? You can be clear about that. Okay, because you're not going to find an environment that is straightforward. So what you pick from today is for your good. Because when you are found in a situation where you are found wanting, the responsibility is on yourself.
The newly recruited health workers have reaffirmed their commitment to dedicate themselves to providing quality health care to patients across Kasama.
So far we have learned a lot, and I can assure you that as we complete this training and induction, we'll be more than capable to deliver our services to the different facilities that we will be assigned to. And lastly, I would just like to assure you that we'll be more than glad to
deliver our services will be assigned with excellency and integrity.
The deployment of the 35 health workers is expected to ease the staffing pressures at local health facilities and improve access to services for residents in Kasama district. Chanda Wellington reporting for Crown TV.
Moving on in our news tonight, Zambia is set to defend its application for membership in the prestigious International Engineering Alliance and secure signatory status at the Washington Accord, a move expected to elevate the country's engineering profession onto the global stage. The defense will be presented by the Engineering Institution of Zambia during the International Engineering Alliance annual general meeting in Cape Town, South Africa from June 8 to 12 before representatives from 45 member countries. EIZ Manager Public Relations Talasha Mutale says the Washington Accord is an international agreement that sets global standards for the engineering education and professional practice, allowing qualifications from signatory countries to gain wider international recognition. Ms. Mutale says EIZ is also pursuing full signatory status to the Sydney Accord and the Dublin Accord, which together cover the full spectrum of engineering training and practice.
The last 4 years, the Engineering Institution of Zambia has been mentored by EXA of South Africa to get accreditation to the International Engineering Alliance. And earlier this January, EIZ made the application, and next week the institution is going to defend it during the International Engineering Alliance annual general meetings, which is going to be held in Cape Town, South Africa. This is a very exciting period for us, because what this means is that once Zambia gets full accreditation to the International Engineering Alliance, the country is going to have engineering standards that will be substantially equivalent to those of leading economies. It's going to get the country recognized and also have the engineering standards that Zambia has been producing respected. So what Zambia is pursuing right now is the Washington Accord for engineers, and later pursue the Sydney Accord for technologists, then the Dublin Accord for technicians and craftspersons. Once this is achieved, it means that it's going to Zambia is going to attract foreign direct investment. Multinational corporations and investors want to invest in a country where the engineering standards are high. So being part of the International Engineering Alliance is going to enhance the country's competitiveness, and it's going to be attractive to the investors. And additionally, this is going to enable all engineering practitioners in the country to be able to practice anywhere across the globe without being re-evaluated.
5 years after the United Party for National Development, UPND, implemented the free education, its flagship campaign promise, President Hakainde Hichilema has signed the policy into law, a move that ruling party youths in Southern Province say removes all remaining uncertainty for parents and students. Since the policy's initial introduction, over 3 million children have returned to school, and Zambia has recorded its highest national pass rate in recent history. Speaking shortly after the signing ceremony, which also saw other key policies enacted into law, Choma District Youth Chairman Hatchwell Ndikiti hailed the development as a turning point. He further noted that with the policy now legally protected, more pupils are expected to re-enroll. Tryford reports.
Free education was the flagship campaign promise for the United Party for National Development before being voted into power. Now 5 years down the line, President Hakainde Hichilema signed free education into law, cementing that promise. Since the policy's introduction, over 3 million children have returned to school. The country also recorded its highest pass rate in the country's history. Following the signing ceremony, which saw other key policies enacted into law, ruling party youths in Southern Province have commended the government for the milestones scored so far. Choma District Youth Chairman Acho indicated that the signing of the policy into law removes uncertainties about free education, giving parents assurance that their children will always be in school at the government cost. He further added that since the policy is now law, there will be an increase in pupils wanting to return to school. This in turn improves educational standard in the country and enhances the quality of leaders for the future.
So mbuli bakubuchi kwamba uti happy birthday ba president. Sot sana. Mbuli mboga saina murao wa free education. Iko tube murao sunu free education ube mzi. Koti jamba uti tawe muntu uyo wora kukusya. Kambo yaba constitution. Ko utanywewa andime bana beso ya free education. Zambia.
The youths have since pledged to mobilize votes for President Hakainde Hichilema and have since launched a door-to-door campaign program in Choma District.
Indu yibagaberega aba president irajitiga. Sunu ogunobuzuba tungira mugurundana wadi. Warozi badera tega nyina maraite gatia ni basa tega maraite. Ihigoro ma 1 classroom ACDF bagatiani agayangwa. Imenda abantu bagatiani bagapekwa.
As the young members of the UPND are celebrating a landmark victory for education, with the free education now enacted into law, the party now hopes to turn the policy into lasting progress and increase the votes as the campaign now intensifies. Tryford Bugowa Jr. reporting for Crown TV News in Choma District, Southern Province.
The Media Initiative for Women in Zambia says the proposed public gathering bill of 2026 must protect constitutional rights and not become a tool to shrink civic space. Speaking during the stakeholders' engagement on the bill, the Constitutional Amendment Act number 13 of 2025 and the Electoral Amendment Act number 12 of 2026, board member Mary Banda said the new law replacing the 1955 Public Order Act could either strengthen democracy or restrict it, depending on how it is applied. Ms. Banda said the bill defines the public gathering as 7 or more persons and introduces notification procedures for certain events. Details in this report.
The Media Initiative for Women in Zambia, MUNDUBILE, has called for safeguards in the proposed Public Gathering Bill of 2026, warning that the law must protect constitutional rights instead of becoming a tool to close civic space. Board member Mary Banda made the call during the stakeholders' engagement on the bill, the Constitutional Amendment Act number 13 of 2025 and the Electoral Amendment Act number 12 of 2026. She said the new bill, which seeks to replace the 1955 Public Order Act, stands at a crossroads for Zambia's democracy. She stressed that the right to peaceful assembly is not a favor from government, but a constitutional and human right.
While the government urges that the bill seeks to balance public order, constitutional freedoms, many citizens, civil society organizations, and governance experts have expressed concerns about possible abuse or selective application of this should it be passed into law. History teaches us that laws governing public assemblies can either strengthen democracy or restrict democratic participation, depending on how they are implemented.
And Ms. Banda said the Media Initiative for Women in Zambia MIHOZ is alarmed by the growing trend of rights violation targeting people who speak out online and offline. She cautioned that selective enforcement of the Public Gathering Bill would undo the very freedoms the Constitution and new electoral reforms are meant to expand. Ms. Banda welcomed provision in the Constitution Amendment Act No. 13 and Electoral Amendment No. 12 that they are meant to boost participation by women, youths and persons with disabilities.
And it makes a sad reading that we have a growing trend in these violations, including online platforms. This is with regard to the rights to participate and free expression. The recent enactment of bills into law, such as the Constitution Amendment Act No. 13 and the Electoral Process Act No. 12, are laws that encourage participation of women, youths, and people living with disabilities. However, we note with great concern the unfair practice where some political parties did not even adopt a single woman in certain provinces.
And Media Initiative for Women in Zambia MIHOZ Executive Director Helen Mwale added that the Public Gathering Bill in its current form is not okay and said there is urgent need to educate citizens who may not understand its implications.
So with the passing of Act Bill number 7 into law, which is Act number 13 now, there are very, very few people. For example, we are having engagement during the week, over the weekend, in different districts here in Lusaka, where people are even asking to say, so nangayamene yo Act number 13 is ikamba bwanji kuti bazimai. You know, people don't even understand proportional representation. They don't even know that in Act number 13, bazimai banawapa sampata to participate in these governance processes, where the law is providing for 20 spaces for women, 15 spaces for the youths, and 5 spaces for people living with disability. And when we talk to them about those issues, they are saying that kulibeana ti uzakwesi, kulibe ndimwe wa festi mwati uzako, city viziwa vamine mukambapo, and things like that. So as Media Initiative for Women in Zambia, we've said, no. I think let's embark on this very important program to sensitize the masses, to educate the masses on what this is all about.
Jesuit for Theological Reflection, JCTR Deputy Director Father Boyd Nyirenda also weighed in. He said the bill should not stand as drafted because, in his view, it puts opposition political parties at a disadvantage.
Well, if the law that notifying the police even during campaign is really affected, it may disadvantage some of the political candidates because, as we well know, that despite the change from getting a police permit to gather to notifying the police, that semantics doesn't change.
With the 2026 elections approaching, the stakeholders agreed how Zambia handles public gathering would test whether new laws deliver real inclusion or just symbolic change. Anton Chomba, Crown TV News, Lusaka.
We take our final break. Thereafter, sports news. Stay with us.
The Zambia Travel Expo ZATEX is back. Stronger, more connected, more impactful. Welcome to ZATEX 2026 from June 4th to the 6th, where opportunity meets authenticity. Driven by the spirit of Zambia moves you. This premier event once again brings together global tourism buyers, investors, and tourism leaders to one of Africa's most compelling destinations. On June 4th, make meaningful interactions with tourism buyers at the Buyers Day, curated business-to-business engagements. On June 5th, join us at the ZATEX official opening to be officiated by President Hakainde Hichilema. On June 6th, Consumer Day, a vibrant showcase of culture, travel experiences, and live entertainment. ZATEX 2026 is back, showcasing the very best of Zambia. Register at www.zatex.org. ZATEX 2026, building authentic and sustainable tourism through partnerships.
The stage is set for more thrilling drama, canning new characters, unexpected plot twists, scandals, more laughter, some love, more seduction, mystery and intrigue.
Master Kalanka, mwilibe mufuma mapolo chombombela leo sife bada stamanga. This is Tamanga.
Everyone wonders why I'm always jovial and happy. Every day, every time. At work, even under pressure. At play, always under control. Even with Bay, I always shine. And today, I get to share my secret companion, Best Kombucha. Gives me the energy but also boosting my immune system as I go by my day-to-day activities.
Toileta mami, we best kombucha sonwemu. Toileta daddy, we best kombucha sonwemu. Iye na ni best kombucha. Best kombucha. Iye na ni mwa kombucha.
Now you know.
Best kombucha. Iye na ni best kombucha. You three come best kombucha.
This sports news is sponsored by Nutricom, the manufacturers of Best Kombucha and Divine Power Kombucha.
Welcome back, and now in sports news, referees key in upholding football ethics, FAS boss. But before we bring you the details, here's a word from our sponsors.
Everyone wonders why I'm always jovial and happy. Every day, every time. At work, even under pressure. At play, always under control. Even with Bay, I always shine. And today, I get to share my secret companion, Best Kombucha. Gives me the energy but also boosting my immune system as I go by my day-to-day activities.
Toileta mami, we best kombucha sonwemu. Toileta daddy, we best kombucha sonwemu. Iye na ni best kombucha. Best kombucha. Iye na ni mwa kombucha.
Now you know.
Best kombucha. Iye na ni best kombucha. You three come best kombucha.
Football Association of Zambia FAS President Keith Mwemba has emphasized the critical role referees play in safeguarding the integrity of the game, describing them as the true custodians of the law of football. Speaking during the official opening of the Young Talent Referee Training Course at Cosmic Lodge in Lusaka, Mwemba said the referees' responsibilities extend far beyond enforcing the rules, as they are entrusted with ensuring a fairness, preserving the integrity of the sport, and maintaining the spirit of the game. He noted that every accomplished referee started from humble beginnings, and that initiatives such as Young Talent Referee Training Course provide the foundation for developing future national, regional, and international match officials. Mwemba further observed that as football continues to evolve, the demands placed on referees are becoming increasingly complex. Meanwhile, a FIFA technical instructor, Jerome Damon, commended the FAS for its commitment to developing the next generation of referees, describing the match officials as the backbone of the game. Damon said the training program represents a huge investment in the future of football officiating in Zambia.
Zambia, as you are aware, in July we have WAFCON. So this is part of the preparations for AFCON. The objective is to prepare the team for WAFCON. So we invited 4 teams. Initially we had the Football Association of Zambia had thought of playing Burkina Faso, but they pulled out after some time. Then we had to engage Lesotho, who came on board to make sure that we have all the 4 nations that have come. Lesotho and Kenya have arrived. They are all in Lola. Zimbabwe arriving this afternoon. So that will complete the whole 4 nations that will be playing. And this starts on Saturday at 12:30. Then the second game will be pushed to...
Through the initiatives such as this program, FIFA continues to demonstrate its commitment to strengthening football by investing in one of the most important pillars of the game, the refereeing development. Very important. There is no football without referees. This course represents an important investment in the future of officiating in Zambia. It creates an opportunity to identify, nurture, and prepare the next generation. The Football Association of Zambia remains committed to referee development because quality officiating strengthens the credibility of our competitions and supports the growth of football across all levels. I wish to pay special tribute to our FIFA instructors, Mr. Jerome Damon and Mr. Bento Neves, for sharing their expertise and supporting the development of our young officials. To all participants, I encourage you to embrace this opportunity fully. Learn actively, ask questions, challenge yourselves, and remain committed to improvement, constant improvement. The knowledge and experience gained here should become the beginning of a successful...
I said to your predecessor, if you want to have a long and prosperous reign as a president, look after referees, because referees impact football by their decisions. And when they keep on making good decisions, the sponsors keep rolling in. So keep investing in referees. To the young referees here today, the whistle you hold may one day be heard in the Zambian Super League. It may be heard in CAF competitions, and it also may be heard one day at the FIFA World Cup. Don't limit your ambitions.
The Football Association of Zambia, FAS, has set its sights on winning the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON, scheduled to take place in July. FA's General Secretary Charles Chakatazia says the association's ultimate ambition is to see the Copper Queens lift the continental crown, having previously reached the final of the competition. Speaking in an interview in Lusaka, Chakatazia expressed confidence in the team's preparations ahead of the tournament. He also declared Zambia's readiness to host the four-nation tournament this weekend, where the Copper Queens will begin their campaign against Kenya's Marambe Starlets in the opening fixture. Chakatazia says the tournament forms part of their broader preparations program lined up by FAZ to ensure the national team is adequately prepared for the WAFCON. He revealed that the Copper Queens are also expected to conclude their pre-tournament preparations with an international friendly match against Algeria. Meanwhile, Lesotho and Zimbabwe are the other teams participating in the four-nation tournament.
Zambia, as you are aware, in July we have WAFCON. So this is part of the preparations for AFCON. The objective is to prepare the team for WAFCON. So we invited 4 teams. Initially we had, the Football Association of Zambia had thought of playing Burkina Faso, but they pulled out after some time. Then we had to engage Lesotho, who came on board to make sure that we have all the 4 nations that have come. The Lesotho and Kenya have arrived. They are all in Lola. Zimbabwe arriving this afternoon. So that will complete the whole 4 nations that will be playing. And this starts on Saturday at 12:30. Then the second game will be pushed to 15:30 as guided by the referees department to allow teams prepare for warm-ups and the other things. So we need that time, a 3-hour difference. So all is set. I think the national team coach Nola is with the team in camp also, training the team, preparing the team. All I can say is that we are set for Saturday and for the final on the night.
Let's get a word from our sponsors once again.
This sports news is sponsored by Nutricom, the manufacturers of Best Kombucha and Divine Power Kombucha.
The top stories. Hunger striking NAKACINDA backs MUNDUBILE from behind bars. Chief MPEZENI'S remains return home. President HH signs into law 5 bills. And in sports news, referees key in upholding football ethics, FA's boss. This is all we could accommodate in our news bulletin for tonight. Thank you so much for having been with us. I've been your anchor, Esther Abrahams Daka. Good night.